This seventh grade social studies class is studying how the world is fed. It has recently seen a motion picture on the Northwest states, sometimes called the world's chief source of energy foods. The class is now discussing wheat. Let's listen.
Doesn't wheat grow around here?
Sure, some wheat grows in almost all of the states.
What kind is ours? Spring or winter wheat?
Lily, what determines whether winter or spring wheat is grown?
Well, the weather and the moisture. I guess it's winter wheat around here.
It is. Didn't you ever see wheat growing?
How many of you have visited a farm?
I saw wheat from the train when I went to camp. I think it was wheat.
I wish every one of you could spend some time on a wheat farm. But since you can't, oh, Betsy?
Could you get us another film that would show us more about a wheat farm?
Yes, there's one called The Wheat Farmer. I'll get it.
I need to know more about tractors and combines and things like that. When I read about them, I don't understand them. I'd like to see them working. I'd like to see the people working.
I'd like to know what they do when they're not working.
All right, then. For tomorrow's lesson, we'll have The Wheat Farmer. And since the whole class can't go to Kansas to see The Wheat Farmer, the motion picture will bring The Wheat Farmer from Kansas to you. This won't take long. It's been some time since I've looked at The Wheat Farmer. Now, let's see what the handbook suggests. I always welcome any suggestions. Might even use them, if they're better than my own ideas. Right. Purposes must be established. These questions are good, but we'd better review those raised in class today. Yesterday, we planned to see a motion picture about the wheat farmer today because of certain questions you asked. Can you remember what they were?
What machines does every farmer need? How many people live on a wheat farm?
I see that you can ask questions faster than I can write them down for you. Suppose you write your questions also. Then we'll combine them.
Children tend to ask very specific questions. They are interested in details. Do wheat farmers work all year? How does the farmer know when it's time to harvest? What kind of weather is best for harvesting wheat? Their interests vary according to their past experiences and what they imagine life on a farm to be like. Under the guidance of the teacher, the numerous specific questions have been organized into 3 general groups. The outline reflects the children's original need for seeing the motion picture.
Now that everyone knows what we're looking for, it's time to look at the picture.
golden fields of heavy-headed grain, the goal of thousands of wheat farmers every year. A typical farmer of the wheat belt, Mr. White, begins his year's work by turning over the soil. Turning over the fertile soil of his fields with gang plows pulled by his tractor.
I'll take it now for a few hours, Dad. Finished 25 acres yesterday, Tom. Ought to be done by Saturday night. Sure, we'll make it, Dad. How's the gas holding out? Enough left for a couple of hours.
With modern machinery, Mr. White and his son Tom can put in a large crop. 25 acres a day of broad, level prairie land plowed up, a fertile seed bed for the wheat. After the soil is prepared, drilling time. Into the hopper of this drill goes about 1 bushel of seed for every acre of ground. A mechanism regulates the flow of seed down through each of these tubes. At the ends, these are like tiny plows, each making its own furrow into which the seed falls, the loose soil covering the wheat as it is planted. After the planting, Mr. White looks for rain. Rain to keep the dry soil from blowing and to germinate the tiny grains. Rain enough to cause his wheat to grow, but not the severe storms that often beat down his growing crop or drown it in stagnant pools of water. Rain to keep harsh, sand-laden winds from whipping out his growing crop. While the wheat is growing, wheat farmers have many other tasks, dairying, for example. A quick dinner for the cat. The milk and butter thus secured are welcome additions to the diet and income of the White family. Much time is occupied also in making necessary repairs. There are social activities as well.
Mom,
Yeah?
I have a letter here for you.
Who's it from?
I think it's about the 4-H Club meeting.
Open it, will you? My hands are dirty. Yes, they want us supposed to be on the club program tomorrow night.
Do you think you can get your face clean by that time?
Well, I'll work on it.
At this time, we will have several project reports given by various club members. First, I've asked Frank Anderson to tell us of his experiences with strawberries.
A start toward diversified crops.
Last year, I picked out a rich piece of land, prepared it, and set out some strawberry plants. I took care of them, and this year we have plenty of berries for our own use.
Training in cooking.
And I found that very careful sifting of the flour will improve the texture of the cake. At least my little brother seemed to like it.
Livestock improvement.
I started the care of my calf on May the 5th. First, I had to teach him to drink milk from a pail. And then when he was old enough, I started feeding a mixture of whole corn and cottonseed meal. And now that I plan to show him at the fair this fall, I've been brushing him every day and breaking him to holler so I can exhibit him.
Such activities as the 4-H clubs combine the social and business life of the youth in the wheat farm belt. But now the warm sun and the kindly rain have brought the crop to maturity. The heads, full of mature seeds, are beginning to bend as a sign of ripeness. Mr. White strides into his field of golden grain and takes a few sample heads for testing. He crushes the heads between his hands until the chaff and grain are separated. The grain is full and dry. It is time for harvest, for the entire field seems to be evenly ripened and midsummer storms are threatening. Mr. White must have help, and quickly.
516F2. Hello, John. This is HW talking. Want to start combining tomorrow. Can you run the machine for me? All right. See you in the morning.
Man looking for work?
Yeah.
You drive a tractor?
Tractor? Yeah.
I need a couple of harvest hands.
What do you pay?
3.5. 3.5 and board.
Fine with me.
I live 8 miles north.
When do you start?
Start in the morning. All right, let's go.
The ripened wheat must be harvested and stored without delay, and the combine is Mr. White's way of doing it. From early morning till late at night, the harvest goes on. Harvesting wheat is hard work for all, and the farmer's wife does her part by providing sumptuous meals. High noon and time for dinner.
Time for dinner! Time for dinner! Time for dinner!
Prairie winds furnish the power for the pumps, for the water with which the hot harvesters wash away the dust of the field and cool themselves before eating. Washing in cool water is almost better than drink after the heat and dust. A hearty meal and a short rest thereafter do much to banish the fatigue of the long harvest day. There are no finicky appetites among a group of harvest hands. The food on the table vanishes like the grain in the fields under the blade of the combine. And woe to the expectant harvester whom the pie plate reaches last. After dinner, dishwashing for the women folk, and the men are once more back in the dust of the harvest field. The sky promises at least temporary continuance of clear weather. And the combine goes tirelessly on, making the best of each sunny hour. A sudden storm at this time might ruin all the standing crop. The combine reel turns constantly, each blade reaching out and bringing back the heads of ripened wheat to the cutter bar. They fall backward and downward upon an endless canvas belt, which passes them on into the body of the machine. Here, the grain is separated from the chaff. Acre after acre of ripened heads fall before the blades of the reel and cutter bar and are carried upward into the maw of the machine. Each time the combine circles the field, it cuts a 20-foot swath of ripened wheat. The modern combine cuts just below the head of the grain and leaves the straw standing. The tall stalks are later plowed under for fertilizer. And now, the hopper on the combine is filled with the threshed wheat. At a signal, a waiting truck drives alongside and is loaded with a deluge of grain. For a moment now, the harvesters pause and enjoy a cooling drink. From loaded combine to loaded truck, the grain thus leaves the harvest field. Without delay, the wheat goes on its way to the nearest elevator, for today's market may be favorable. This is the harvest field routine, from dawn to dusk. From field to combine, from combine to truck. From combine to truck, and from truck to elevator. At the elevator, located on a spur of the nearest railroad, Mr. White sells his grain. Some elevators are cooperative, some are owned locally, and some by milling interests far off. These two simple devices, a removable end gate on the truck and a grated opening on the driveway beneath, permit rapid and easy unloading of the grain from truck to elevator. From truck to elevator, elevator to train, from train to mill, and mill to bakery, thus the wheat harvest travels. Processed and mixed and kneaded. Mixed and kneaded and weighed. weighed and rolled and put into pans and baked. Baked and sliced for our convenience. Bread, our staff of life. This is the story of wheat, when the soil, the sun, and the rain, and the toil of thousands of farmers graciously grant a golden harvest.
What is it, Arnold?
How about the weather? There must be rain after the planting, so that the wheat will grow.
Rain keeps the topsoil from blowing away.
Rain germinates the tiny grains.
Too much rain beats the little plants down. There shouldn't be too much rain. There must be sunshine, too, to make the wheat ripen. I saw the answer to my question.
Fine. What was it?
I learned when it's time to cut the wheat. The farmer takes the heads and puts them in his hand and crushes them. If the grain is full and dry, it is time for harvest.
Very good. Now, let's see how much we can remember about how the farmer raised his crop. What machines did he use?
He used a tractor to pull the plow. The plow turned over the soil. The seeds are planted with a drill. With the combine, the ripe wheat is cut and threshed in the field.
And a truck takes the grain to the elevator.
Is most of the farmer's work concerned with raising wheat?
Oh, no. He makes his money from his wheat, but he has lots of other things to keep him busy.
Like milking the cows and making repairs and trips to town.
Wonder how many of you would like to live on a wheat farm?
I'd like to drive a tractor. I wouldn't mind helping with the meals. The girl that was helping her mother was really helping with the harvesting, too, wasn't she? I'd like to try raising my own chaff. A fellow could make some money that way. I'd rather be the boy that tested the cake.
Are there any questions about the picture?
I didn't understand about those two men the farmer hired.
They were harvest hands, Ann.
The picture didn't show where they came from.
They follow the harvest as it moves north and work their way from farm to farm. Of course, their work may be very uncertain, and this makes their problem our problem. Ann has raised a very significant question. We'll hear more about it when she reports to the class. Now, what about the rest of you?
I'll find out where the wheat goes when it leaves the elevator. Maps and atlases will show me. They'll tell me where the fence is.
At the library, I'll try to find out who invented those machines, the scientists who made them.
I'm going to write and find out how to grow strawberries. The Department of Agriculture might have a...
I'm going to visit a bakery to find out how bread is made.
Tonight, I'm going to look up the price of wheat. The newspapers always carry the book.
Let's summarize today's work. The film we have seen has shown us the activities of the wheat farmer and his family. In discussing what we have seen, we've considered a number of problems and planned a number of projects. Tomorrow, we'll get to work on them.
Now let's see how the teacher has used the classroom film. Because of questions which the children asked, he selected a subject to meet their needs. The teacher prepared himself by previewing the film and by studying the handbook. He assisted the pupils in setting up definite purposes for seeing the motion picture. When the class knew exactly what to look and listen for, they studied the film. Immediately after the screening, a discussion was held to check understandings of purposes as previously set up. Out of this discussion of the motion picture, plans for future studies and activities grew. Other showings were held as needs arose. Cardinal principles in using the classroom film are: first, set up purposes; second, present the film; and third, discuss immediately achievement of purposes and plans for future activities. During succeeding days, individual projects near completion. Their variety and quality depend on the time allotted to the activity and the ability of the pupil. Basic study skills are improved by exercises which utilize interests aroused by the motion picture. The tools of learning are being sharpened. Ability to interpret and to communicate facts is developing. Boys and girls are gaining experience in the organization of information and in written composition. There is integration with other subjects in the child's curriculum. Oral reports and classroom demonstrations provide outlets for sharing information. Individual differences in interests and abilities widen the horizons of everyone in the class. Here, for example, the music committee has found a new meaning in an old familiar song.